order. We have like too dark. Okay. Hello. Everybody ready? Yep. As far as I know, Artemis 2 is like almost at closest approach right now. We had the live stream up earlier. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. They're taking pictures. Huh? Okay. It's weird that I'm up here, right? This is alarming. Our president is in Puerto Rico. Our first vice president is in Puerto Rico. Uh-oh. Well, oh no, they couldn't see me in the internet. Okay, fine, internet people, I'm here. So I'm acting president. I'm actually your outreach coordinator. I'm a little rusty, pretty ill prepared. Why would I prepare? Okay. Yeah, but you were president. I made it. All the way in the back. I'm getting salutes. Okay, so I'm introducing you to the WASP presidency. We got a short and long presentation tonight that we'll talk about. Do I have any first-time attendees? Wait, let's do our roll call first. I'm Jeff McLeod, acting president.
Dale King, the editor.
Dale Carter. Wow, I'm passing the mic.
A little bit. It's kind of long. Yeah.
Way in the back. All right, we got there. Any first-time attendees? First-time attendees. How did you guys hear about us? Meetup. Anyone else? YouTube.
Yes.
I will find you all in the break and talk to you about what the club has to offer if you do not already know. Let's see. Members, you can renew your memberships on PayPal, or we have a treasurer who is. Did everything go smooth on Saturday? You're. Okay, but we're getting there. Okay. And if you're a new member and you subscribe or purchase a membership, it is good all the way through 2027. So you get the rest of this year. At least that's what it says on here. Isn't that usually later? After June. This agenda is not updated. Okay. We did our roll call. Who is holding onto the lanyards and name tags? If you become a member, you'll see some of us have our lanyards and name tags. I always forget mine.
Same me.
You have it?
I have lanyards. Yep.
So if you became a member a couple months ago, see Dale, he may have your name tag. WASP announcements. Mark Ketzier has WASP wearables. He can also kind of do like custom orders. If you say, "Hey, I want like this shirt with this logo," he can usually make that happen. Stickers. It says "Point to David." He doesn't live there anymore. I don't think he has the stickers, but if you're interested in WASP stickers, I'll track them down. Okay, the new treasurer has them. Mark? Pins? Bandanas? Yes, no? Uh-oh. We should probably do like a inventory to see how many names we have left. We are a member of the Great Lakes Association of Astronomy Clubs. The GLAC meetings are being held the second Tuesday of each month. I haven't been attending them. I usually wait till it's getting a little bit closer to astronomy at the beach. Laura? They're online. If you wish to attend, just be careful. I think they still need board members, so they might.
They are begging clubs for members to attend, so that.
So I'm staying away. Okay, officer reports. I don't have a presidential report from Diane, but what I can remember of the board meeting, wheels are in motion, getting the treasury set up. We got some plans to do some things. First VP Jonathan, also in Puerto Rico, he's always looking for presentations. If you've never given a presentation, maybe a short talk, perhaps, about a particular topic. Maybe Artemis 2, maybe Artemis 3, maybe Artemis 4. Okay. Treasury, Mark. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, secretary report. Normally, when we give the reports, the person comes up and gives a report. We don't have a secretary. We're still trying to find one. If you would like to save this position, we will shower you with affection. Secretary was my first position. I think it's a good way to get into the board membership without like a tremendous amount of like, oh my God, I have all this pressure on me. I have to open the observatory. I have to schedule all these talks. I think secretary is a good way to get your feet wet. So if you're thinking about board membership, Tina, you're gonna do it again. Outreach. Me. We have an event at the Belle Isle Nature Center on the 25th of April. It's the same night as the open house, so you have to choose where you're gonna be. We do have enough people covering this event, so we're not like, oh my God, we really need to get some telescopes down here, but it is a rather fun event. You can also check out the Nature Center. It's pretty darn cool down there. I've done this event years and years. It's an interesting event. You get more people that have never looked through a telescope, and so it's a very rewarding event to do. So I recommend it. You'll feel like a big fish in a small pond at the Belle Isle Nature Center, whereas if you go to Stargate, you're just another fish in the pond. You're not going to compete with the big dog. You're just okay. Where am I? I don't have astronomy. Oh, okay, publications. WASP is up. Oh, Riyadh, I'm sorry. Somehow I skipped you. Riyadh, do you have a report?
Yes, sure I do. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Last open house was on March 28th. I was not able to attend, so Jeff McLeod was able to help out. So thank you, Jeff, for that. I greatly appreciate it. Also, Tina was there and she helped out as well. Looks like, based on the report I got from Jeff, they started out by looking at the sun with the Lunt solar scope. And then after that, they were able to, even though the sky was mostly cloudy, they were able to still look at the moon, Jupiter, looked at double star Castor. The observatory was open from 7 p.m. all the way until 11 p.m. We had about 25 guests visiting. Some of those guests were from the American Heritage Girls, and we had about 7 members attending. The next open house is going to be on April 25th. I would like to say that I'm going to also need a little bit of support. I'm not in a condition to lift ladders or climb up ladders right now. And then the other thing I should mention is, thanks to Mark kids here, we were able to sell a number of scopes at the Ford event. So that was good. We sold a bunch of the small scopes that nobody was using, and they were holding a lot of space in our small shed. He also took care of a lot of the lumber, made some improved our shelving as well with some of the lumber that we had in there. So a lot of good things are happening. And in the next open house, if we can, I'd like to start doing some cleanup around the observatory, inside the observatory. So if anybody who would like to volunteer, that would be greatly appreciated. It's your observatory, so we need to, all of us, work on it, take care of it. So that's all I have for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Riyadh. David Levy, I see you in there. Do you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, I do, and thank you very much. I would like to add my welcome to this meeting that we're having tonight. And with all the things that are going wrong in the United States right now, there is one thing going really right. That is the Artemis is now going around the moon right now as I speak. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. The pictures they're showing, the words they're doing. And to celebrate that, I would like to quote a poem that actually comes from 1667 by a writer who had an idea that it would be quoted to celebrate Artemis II. John Dryden was. To see this fleet, the ocean move, angels drew wide of the skies, and heaven as if in wondered lights above, were tapers made, two glaring comets rise, which we hope will get to this point. Whether they ocean exhalations are fired by the sun, or seeming so alone, or reach some more remote and small star, which loses footing when to mortal ship, or one that bright companion of the sun, whose glorious aspects are you born? And now around greater years begun, you influence from the walk of life you bring. I do not see when whistle fist some falcon stoops, and what I design. And with eagerness, the quarry mist, straight flies the check and clips it down the wind. Thank you very much for that.
David, in the interest of time, I'm going to skip some of the special interest groups until after our bylaw amendment vote, and then if there's time, I'll go back over that stuff. Do you have solar stuff to talk about?
Oh, shoot.
Do you need to be up here to talk about it? No, not till I do this. I wanted you to stall for me. All right. We've been trying to do this for a little bit, so we're finally. I'm going to read this. We're going to vote on it. Okay. So in bold is the amendment. What we're adding. We're not actually changing anything. We're just adding. In recognition of time, effort, and service rendered by members of the board of directors in carrying out the purpose of the corporation. That's us. The corporation shall waive the annual membership dues of each director during their term of office. This waiver shall be considered a form of reasonable, non-monetary compensation for the services rendered, consistent with Section 2.02 of these bylaws and application provisions of Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. Such waivers shall not affect any other rights or privileges of membership, and directors shall be considered good members in good standing for all purposes of these bylaws. your time to discuss was after it was announced. As far as I know, according to the bylaws, we're going to vote. You have to be a member. If you're one of the new attendees, please abstain from voting. I've never done this before. All in favor? Seems. Can I get some other board members? Seems that the majority has it. Yes. All opposed? Any opposed? Okay, I got no opposed. The motion passes. Thank you. That will be. You will be board member now, aren't you? Yeah. I think it's been a long time coming. Not that our membership dues are crazy, but it's just some sort of recognition of the position of office. Okay, hold on. Let me look at my time. Yeah, solar. Let's go.
All right. Man, I flipped sideways there. All right. Solar system has one less comet.
Yeah, how do I?
What?
Get out of there. We had it. Is it?
PowerPoint.
Oh, do I need to close it all down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And the document should be on the desktop there.
What document?
Solar report.
I got it right here.
Yeah, but it'll go out to the world.
Okay.
If you share it.
I did send it.
So then I need Zoom. Okay, it's seeing something. Hold on. Oh, did I just close Zoom? What's going on here? Yes, thank you. Save me from myself. Why won't it bring up Zoom?
It's like that.
Oh, yeah, it's another screen. Okay. Take it away. This is why.
Is this a good one?
Yeah. Okay. We'll see it here though.
Do you want to hear it?
I want it on Zoom, and I'd love the extra guys here to see it too. But
I think they can see it.
okay. Okay. The solar system has one less comet. Comet on April 4th. Comet MAPS 2026 A1 flew through the sun's atmosphere only 160,000 kilometers above the sun's surface. The comet went in, but only debris came out. There are 7 numbered sunspots on the sun right now. Solar flares are unlikely today, as all of these sunspots have stable magnetic fields with a low chance of flares. No reports, no significant flares over the last several days. Spaceweather.com, although the real-time aurora gallery has some spectacular aurora images from April 4th. So if you go to spaceweather.com, hit the real-time aurora gallery. It's beautiful. There are some impressive coronal loops on the sun's face that are rotating into view. I will bet there's an active sunspot where these loops are coming in. There is a weird, like L-shaped, angle-shaped coronal hole that is spewing particles toward the Earth, which should reach us today or tomorrow. So more auroras are likely. And that is it for solar. This is the comet. See if it's animated here. There we go. Yeah, that's the comet. Right there. Gulp. So yeah, so nothing came out, and let's see, there's sunspots. Fairly big one down there. And let's see, there's the aurora. One of the auroras. There's a whole bunch of really cool ones. And there's these coronal loops. This is the sun's rotating this way, so this is coming into view. As I bet there's a sunspot. You're going to see a really big one coming in the next couple days. So that is it for solar. Stop the sharing. There we go. All right.
Easily Riyadh, but he wasn't there. We saw Castor, so we did it. Pretty good.
It was really cloudy, so we were actually pretty lucky to get what we got. Nothing on the radio front. Okay, any observing reports? It's his fault. Boo this man. Very nice. Anybody else? I saw the moon this morning, and there were people around it. Pretty good. I didn't see them, but I can feel it. They're there. Very nice. The best scope you own is the scope you use. So, very good. Let's see. We did the bylaws. We're at 7:22. Any other observing reports? I've got in the news, apparently there's been some Artemis mission going on. Who's excited about, okay, good. I'm like, see, that- we will forgive you, Bob, because I missed it too. Um, so I, very nice. Who's been like live streaming it at work? Yeah, very good.
We have an unstable internet connection.
Oh, Diane, we hear you. Yeah, for those of us that never got Apollo, this is novel. It's interesting. It is past due. Let's hope that we carry some momentum forward out of this.
You know about the toilet?
They don't know how good they got it. The toilet, they're supposed to be roughing it. Um,
There's
uh,
a new toilet out in this one, and it didn't work at first, but they fixed
that's something to put on your CV. I think we're going to go right into our short talk. Dale Parton is going to introduce our speaker. Vachalia is going to get the documents. Oh, you gotta.
Okay, so I'm filling in for Jonathan. For a short talk this evening, Tom Servanak says he has been enjoying the hobby of astronomy since the early 1980s, so he's a veteran. Has a bachelor's degree in philosophy and received his master's in anthropology from Wayne State. He worked for 40 years in the social service field, serving immigrants, youth, the elderly, and incarcerated individuals. Has to be a lot of interesting stories there. He's now retired from that. He's been a member here of the Warren Club for 2 years and enjoys our company and the high level of professional interchange. His talk this evening, Archaeoastronomy of the Newark, Ohio Earthwork, a new UNESCO heritage site. Tom? Okay, you want to show me?
Which one is this? Do you know which one it is?
Yeah, right there.
Do I just click on it? What do I do? I'm sorry. Sorry about the technical difficulties here. Oh, we got it? Okay. And then how do I change the screens? Hit the mouse. Hit right there. Oh, okay. Well, thank all of you. Again, sorry about the delay. I really uh, am looking forward to giving this talk. It's really something that I've loved and through my whole lifetime have really enjoyed uh, looking at mounds and visiting them. And I was really happy. I lived in Newark, Ohio, during high school time, and never really got to see the mounds, but they're absolutely incredible. And 2 years ago, they were selected to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's not that far away. Newark is about 3.5 hours, and it really is one of the great archaeological sites in North America here. So, first, I'd like to sincerely thank Dr. Brad Lepper. He's the senior archaeologist for the Ohio History Connection World Heritage Program. He was very generous and he helped me with this and allowed me to also use their um, images for it. So, we often think of Native Americans in the continental U.S., not Mexico, but in the continental U.S. is living in teepees and uh, uh, bark houses. But really, there were hundreds and thousands of mounds and earthworks in the United States that have almost all been destroyed. Here in um, uh, the Bel Ray area of Detroit, which is where the new bridge is coming in, was a great mound. That's not a good picture. This was 700 feet long, and people came from all over the area to inter their loved ones there. Here's a few of the local ones, and let me try to get down here. You can see right here. This is where the new Gordie Howe Bridge is coming, and that's where the Great Mound is. And this is the only mound that we have left now, unfortunately. That's at Fort Wayne. You can see it's not very large, and all the bones that were in and uh, human remains that were in the mounds were pushed into the river. Very, very sad. But I want to just say this is not um, an earthwork. This is a burial mound. We're going to be talking about something that's uh, geometric and has um, uh, a purpose that is far beyond just burials. This is Cahokia, which was a very large city. It was near present-day St. Louis, and you can see this is a temple, so it's not a burial mound, and it's very large. There are about 20,000 people there, comparable to many cities in Europe. So here is Newark. It's about half an hour from Columbus and 3.5 hours from us. And this is Chillicothe. These represent many, many more earthworks uh, than at Newark, but Newark's are the largest. And here, this is Oregania, which is a large earthwork, but it's called Fort Ancient. So first, I'd like to just touch on this book here. This is the first book ever put out by the Smithsonian Institute. F.M. Squire and Edwin Davis. They traveled all over the Mississippi Valley region and did accurate surveying of it. And there's just hundreds and hundreds of mounds that are now gone that you can get very accurate information from. So here is from that book, the Newark Earthworks. And there are four remaining structures. This is called the Octagon, the Great Octagon. And you know, it's 50 acres. 50 acres, that's a huge farm, actually. This is called the Observatory Circle. And the reason is there's this mound here that people were using to observe the the other earthworks. Uh, Actually, it turns out it is an observatory. Down here, let's see if I can get that, is the Great Circle, and that's 30 acres. And then this is the square. Now, these three earthworks are still there, and somehow I'm switching it. And you can see the extent of this. Now, I don't know if you can see these two little figures here. So again, these are huge earthworks. Is there a timer on this? I'm just clicking it wrong, or is that what I'm doing? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Um, so this is the Great Octagon. This is the observatory circle, and over here is the Great Circle, and then there's the square over here. And this circle here is gone, but that used to be actually filled with mounds that were burial. So where we lost our mounds, surprisingly, these mounds were preserved. Weirdly, because the largest part, the octagon and the observatory circle were taken over by the basically the Chamber of Commerce, and they turned it into a golf course, which sounds a little bit irreverent for something, but they actually preserved it. The Great Circle, which again is about 30 acres, that was preserved because it became the site of the Ohio State Fair. Let me just point out something, this picture here. You can see the State Fair there. There's a moat, but it's on the inside. So this is not a structure that's made for defense. So who built this? This was built by the Hopewell Indians. Hopewell was just the name of a farmer where they first studied this culture. And it's a group of smaller cultures in kind of a trade network or maybe an exchange network between different areas of the country. It existed between 100 BC and 500 AD, so quite a long time ago, well over 1,000 years ago. And they lived on hunting, gathering, early farming like squash and seeds, sunflowers, but no corn, no maize. That didn't come until 900 AD, and that's a very significant item we'll talk about. Again, the next thing it says is that maize or corn did not come into the area until about 900 AD. There were leaders, but no centralized power, no emperor or king. And there was sophisticated artwork, such as pipes and human figures. So here, this is the Hopewell Heartland, and you can see all the items that were coming in from different areas. Mica from the south east, silver from Canada, shark teeth, obsidian, volcanic glass from out west, and from our area, copper. And so let's look a little bit at the observatory circle. Right here, you can see part of it, and there's the picture of the observatory. And a significant item we'll talk about later is this circle. The observatory circle is 1,050 feet. This is a picture. Well, you can't see it very well here of the octagon, and these are very high banks here. And again, it's 50 acres, and you can see a person sitting there. And here's a view. It's not a total view, just from the entrance, and you can see this is the Great Circle where the Ohio State Fair was, and the moat on the inside. So it wasn't defensive. So what was the purpose of these earthworks? Was it possibly a North American Stonehenge that had solar alignment? So at the time that people started talking about solar alignments in ancient structures, there was a lot of obvious reason to be doubtful. I mean, you can get an alignment from anything. You can get a solstice alignment from my doorknob to the post on my fence. So, two people, uh, let's see here, two professors from Earlham College in Richmond, Indiana, wanted to debunk the whole issue of solar alignments on ancient earthworks. They felt that it just wasn't something that the uh, ancient Indians were possible. So it was Dr. Ray Hively and Robert Horn, and they came with students and they said, let's check for solar alignments. They didn't find any, which was actually significant because they should have at least found something. As I said, they're easy to find if you're looking for them. And what they did find, though, well, let's see here. What they did find, very surprising, there were no solar alignments, but rather a uh, a lunar alignment. This is, remember, I talked about the observatory circle. This is the mound there. And if you look straight across all through the circle, you will see the moon in its 18.6-year cycle at its maximum northern range. And you can see it right through there. And they started checking other alignments, and they found that, again, this is the maximum northern moonrise, uh, the maximum northern moonset, the maximum southern moonrise with the minimum southern moonrise, and you can go through all these. They have the minimum and the maximum. Very incredible, and you can see this is not something that is just kind of um, uh, pushed into it. It actually makes some sense. And you can see here now. This is something I found really difficult to study for this talk. Is the um, 18.6-year cycle of the moon, because it is literally all over the place, but it does do it in a very structured pattern. And here, uh, this is again Newark, and you can see the maximum northern moonrise. And whoops, okay, let me go back there. Whoops, and uh, the maximum southern moonrise, and you can see the angles here, 77 degrees. And then there's a minimum moonrise and a minimum northern moonrise. The best way to describe this is like a pendulum. So the moon will go back and forth in the sky, and at a certain point, the maximum moonrise and the southern moonrise, it'll kind of hesitate. And that is called a lunar standstill. And it's a complicated thing, but it basically is a result of the difference in the tilt of the Earth and the tilt of the moon. There's like a 5.14 degree difference. And it also is the difference between the moon's orbit and the Earth orbit. You can see that. So that whole cycle takes, right here, you can see, takes 18.9 years. Now, I didn't point out, I touched on it briefly, but 60 miles away, there are the remains of earthworks. Now, they unfortunately have been plowed under for many, many years, but there's enough to remain that they were able to get very similar alignments to the moon with a northern moonrise and a maximum southern moonrise. And they also found a winter and a summer solstice sunrise and sunset there. So, just to bring this all together now, this was really planned out. This was not something haphazard. It was actually engineered. And these are just a few of the items that come together. First of all, the circumference of the great circle, right there, the circumference, okay, equals the parameter of the square. So this was something, again, planned out. The area of the square, right here, equals the same area as the observatory circle. The diameter of the observatory equals, so the diameter here equals the sides of the square. And at the one I showed you in Chillicothe, the actual sizes are the same. And also, again, this is the observatory circle. You can see the diameter, 1,050 feet, and six of those take you to the Great Circle. And from the octagon, six of those diameters take you to the square. So let me just, in the end, how were the Hopewell, how and why were the Hopewell ceremonial mounds constructed? Brad Lepper, again from Ohio Connection, he's in charge of these, said that first of all, the earthworks were not constructed to provide astronomical information for agriculture, because corn was not being grown there. It did not come into the region until 900 AD, excuse me. Since it's so well planned, it may have been the design of a single remarkable religious leader, or perhaps like a guild or some kind of religious order. And since it was not agricultural related, it was likely built to have a religious experience, like a communion with the moon as a spiritual being. Indeed, until recently, the moon was considered to be a living goddess. In Greek and Rome, it's Diana and Artemis, and among among the Mayan and local here, the Anishinaabe, it's the grandmother. So, this is a special invitation from Dr. Brad Lippert to WAS, um, hoping that all of you will come and visit at some point the new UNESCO World Heritage Site in Newark, Ohio. And uh, I'm sure you would have a great experience. That concludes my talk today. Thank you very much. I have a bonus earthwork. This is this is um, very close to us. in Tecumseh, Michigan. So near the Toledo border. And here you can see the exact same geometry that or similar that you'll see in other Hopewell earthworks. So this may very well be the most northern extension of their culture. Again, thank you. Any question? Yeah. I hope I can answer them. Pardon me? When did they think it was built? Oh, they don't know exactly, but yeah, they don't know exactly, but the Oklahoma culture was between 100 BC and about 400 or 500 BC. So built sometime in there, about 1,000 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're great. Let's lose them. Oh, really? Oh, like you. It is. It really is. Yeah, and if we do go to Newark or to the Hopkins, they have other.
I better not.
Have
Mount Kitty, which is a large enclosure with a lot of very
oh, it's coming back.
oh, from that.
Our area is named after Union. Well, yeah, where they were. I have no idea either. I'll look that up though. And then what do you know? Yeah, I will. But that's the what I've been told too. I've also been told that it isn't. But I just recently read that it is, and I think they said about 7 miles. But I'll tell you. Yeah. Didn't they call it Dakota bombs? Coming on west. The what? Dakota bombs. Where did that? You know, I read the encyclopedia, I just brought it, you know, bring it next time, but there are mounds in Dakota, you know, and they're often what they call effigy mounds, like they're in the shape of a bear, you know, or something like that, yeah.
But you know, the historical society, like every time where our local Indian mountains.
I'm still not ready.
Yes.
I'm not ready. I'm not where my hearing is.
Yeah. Louisville Historical
Okay.
Society could tell you where our local Indian mound is.
Okay.
Keep it secret.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I don't know where they are. There's petroglyphs in the thumb, but
In San Juan, right? Took my kids there and we actually like got under the fence.
so there's a Bob T carved into the.
Do you know, remember the great burning in the thumb in the 19th century? And that's how they found it because everything was level and they found those that used to cover over.
All right, we're gonna take our snack break. The Kaplans, Cheryl and Alan brought our snacks. I think someone else,
Some other people.
some other people, whoever brought snacks, thank you. Let's give them, thank you so much. We would starve without. And then real quick before we go on break, because I have you, I've been trying to give out our Night Sky Network award pins while people are in the building. So Bob Tremblay, Jim Lawless, please come up and collect your 2025 Night Sky Network outreach pins.
Speech.
Okay, the rest of you can go on break while Bob gives a speech.
I was going through my filing cabinet and I pulled out a WASP folder And I opened the WASP folder, and in it was a bag of 2018 WASP pins that I had not handed out. So it'll be handing those out to people because I have the list of names. 2018. These.
I probably got one coming. Yes, you do. Do you know how to do the lights?
Is it the light bulb? Okay. Stage turn. Yeah.
Dale?
Oh, how do you stop it?
Yeah, it won't let me.
Turn them off.
Ah!
Use the arrows, not the line.
It just goes all the way down.
There's no like. But now it's.
Maybe.
House room, center stage, center stage. House rear.
1, 2. Which one's a bit more?
That's like yeah.
2. Ooh. 1, 2. There we go. That's better.
Well, it's
The wrong mic was selected. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Right. The wrong mic was selected. That's why I couldn't hear him.
Oh, you put in here? Oh,
It was very faint. Very faint. So all this is a big mic, so everything it clips on. So if I talk like that, so now it works.
okay,
Yeah, he didn't have the right mic selected,
okay.
so we're ready for later. I'm gonna go ahead and mute this one now.
Turn the lights off just because I'm flickering so bad.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the wrong mic
We
selected.
were doing the presentation, so.
Yeah.
I can hear myself.
No. No, I can hear you. No, I'm actually checking the audio. I wasn't ignoring you. I was trying to make sure the audio was working. I'm trying. I think it's muted though. Oh, yeah, they're muted. Sorry? What did you say?
What?
Oh, what got me into the club? I Googled astronomy clubs near me. This is one of the first ones that came up. Yeah, it is. I like it. It's I try to help out, volunteer at events wherever I can. So yeah, it's good stuff. I like it. I'm learning, still learning. I'm always getting new. I wish I would have started 20, 30 years ago. Right. I knew of mounds, but I didn't know their relation to the sky. Right. I know there's some. My cousin had to do my cousin did a report on them. I'll have to ask where they went to for that though. But I have seen those before. Oh, sure. Mm. None of my friends or family aren't gonna do it like I am. But so I stream live on TikTok with my telescopes, and there's a huge astronomy community in TikTok. Not now, even though before it was, but we're still heading. I don't know. At this point, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows everything. Yeah. It's now owned by a U.S. company. But in fact, I was streaming last night with my Celestron. Which one do you have? 5SE. Okay. Okay. Like I have the 8SE, so you have the 5-inch version of that, or the C version. Yeah. So this was from my stream last night. I was still in Jupiter. I was struggling with the camera. I found some. Actually, I never usually use my phone. I use my C-Star. So not too bad. I mean, I can get closer with the eyepiece. I was struggling with the camera, the TikTok camera. So, but still cool. Had a couple hundred people. No, it's the camera that's in the TikTok application. But I learned since I stream live on TikTok. You probably heard me say it before. So that with usually with my C-Star telescope, my far telescope, also with my WISE cameras looking for meteors. And then I really want to start using this more. But I also have an astro cam. I have to figure that part out too, and I can use that.
Well,
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no kidding. Actually sold a small tripod to a photographer today. I bought it for my Celestron, but it was too small. Never used it. So this guy's out of South Carolina. He goes by Deep Sky. He's watching NASA. He's streaming live. He's got exposed. We minimize that anyway. He's streaming live out of South Carolina. He's got the NASA feed into his stream. He's got his backyard where his telescopes are. So usually he's pointing at the sun or imaging, a nebula or galaxy.
So, well, you got a phone, right? You got a smartphone, right? You got it. Oh, you can do it easier on a smartphone. To be honest, app on the computers is so good. I can give you. Pardon me. Yes. Yeah. So what I can do is let me give you. I'll have you. Yeah, yeah. But hang on 1 second before you do. Um, can you can do that. Try and scan that. Put out turn your camera. Look at you. You know, okay. The internet down here sucks. So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you may already have it on your phone. Oh no, you have to open the app here. Okay. You do have to download it. It may take a while. Helps, right? Okay, get. And, no, there's. Oh yeah, there is. I didn't see that one either. But that's a recycle one, but there's a big one right outside the door. You know your Apple password? What's your name? Laura Dave. Nice to meet you. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of astronomy groups on Facebook too. You know, per brand, per camera. Oh yeah, yeah. Whoa, I'm hearing myself. Hello? Did I hear myself? Maybe not. Oh, okay. Your mic? My mic.
And Dale is going to introduce our feature presentation. And I'm going to cover this. Hopefully that doesn't cause this.
One, two.
We need some help getting the right. Yeah.
That's working now.
Okay. I think we're ready for our feature talk for tonight. Excuse me. Thomas Drummond joined Orion's quest following a 36-year career in public education in Michigan. He tells me that he was in a couple of Michigan school systems for a total of 34 years, half that time as a middle school science teacher, and half that time as a principal. Quite an accomplishment there. He holds a bachelor's degree in geology and astronomy and a master's degree in science education and school administration from the University of Michigan. He also received an educational specialist degree in science education from Wayne State University. As a co-founder of Orion's Quest, he has served as the Chief Operations Officer for the past 21 years and has enjoyed collaborating with scientists, engineers, and astronauts to help create and implement authentic STEM opportunities for students in classrooms across the country and around the world. His topic tonight, STEM research on the ISS. Thomas?
Thanks, Dale. I'm glad I'm following snacks instead of preceding it. So now that you're set and ready to go, I've got a few interesting things. I hope that you'll find interesting things to say tonight. So. All right. While we're, what's that? Oh, thanks. Do I need to be closer or further?
Yeah, please.
Closer?
Yeah, closer
Okay.
to the mic.
As a teacher, I don't like standing behind something, but I'll, can you hear me? Nothing there. So that mic is on the control panel. Yeah, there you go. And then I'll set up for the video too as well. Okay, can you hear me now? No. Due to technical difficulty. Can you hear me now? Good. Well, again, it's a privilege to be here. Thank you for inviting me, giving me a chance to tell you a little bit about Orion's Quest. Before I do that, again, you've heard a little bit about me. I'm the COO of Orion's Quest and the co-founder of it. Another fellow principal and I started the organization, now it's been about 22 years ago, and we still are going strong, and I'd like to tell you about that as we go forward in the evening here. So a lot of what you just heard is what I would call my story. And I wanted, before I got into the actual presentation, to talk to you a little bit about three questions here. And that's for yourselves, what is your story? What got you interested? Why are you here? What fueled your interest in astronomy and joining an illustrious group like this here tonight? And I say that because these questions are what we use when we talk to principal investigators, researchers, scientists that we try and connect with to develop programs that will be used in front of students. And so when we talk about stories, one of the things we want kids to know is what's the story for that scientist? Why did this come into being? Why is the scientist doing what he's doing? Why is he studying this particular area of research? And particularly, why do it on the International Space Station? Because that's what this is all about tonight. So Orion's Quest is a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. And if anybody would like to help us with that, I'll talk to you afterward. I'd be very, very willing to listen to your interest in funding us, but we are a 501c3. We don't charge teachers for what we do. We want to make it accessible to as many people in as many areas as much as possible to get as many students involved. And so we try and take away any barriers that we can. We're going to be talking about the International Space Station a little bit, and it's very interesting that the stars aligned tonight, that the Artemis 2 mission just went by the moon. And in a minute, I'll ask you a prize-winning question about that. And that there would be a Big Ten team, my team, in the national championship game a little bit later tonight. All these things happen. I didn't realize this was going to happen back in November when I said, sure, I'll talk on April 6th at 8 o'clock at night, and Michigan will be in the national championship game. But so we want to talk about that. I want to talk with you specifically about some of the principal investigators that we deal with, the researchers that we work with. And then I have some video clips that I will show you of interviews that we've done with some of those so that we can highlight just a few of what we call the student missions that we offer to teachers to use with their students. So our background, our board consists of a few other people, but we have 3 astronauts on board. Some of you may be familiar with Jack Lausma, Michigan grad, lived in just south of Ann Arbor for a while, is now retired and living outside of in the hill country in Austin, Texas. But Colonel Ross is a really great friend of ours in our program, and Jerry Ross was responsible for 7 spacewalks in the actual construction of the International Space Station, and wrote a book, if you're interested, called Spacewalker, and also wrote a children's version of it, which is really cool. So he is a great supporter of our program. And then Guy Gardner, a 3rd astronaut on our board. So we've got some roots within NASA that really give us, I think, credibility in terms of what we're trying to do with teachers and students. Our goal is to challenge kids. And in order to do that, we need to provide something to teachers who are responsible for getting those kids involved. So we want to challenge kids to excel in math and science. And we do that using space-based activity, space-based research. Just about every kid that I ever knew has some interest, kind of an innate natural interest in space. And so if we can capitalize on that, that's our goal, is to say these things are happening in space, and here's why, and here's how maybe it's a benefit for those of us here on Earth, and use that as a tool to get the kids interested in areas within the STEM discipline. We are really a 2-pronged organization. We're a nonprofit, as I said, but we want to provide an opportunity for teachers and students. But at the same time, we want to provide an opportunity for researchers. And so it's significant to us to be able to say to a researcher that we can help you, potentially help you, gather some data, because we have this massive student database that might allow them to do some analysis of things that you're doing and provide you with some useful data. Now, obviously, the research is generally a very high level kinds of things, but as we meet and talk with researchers, sometimes we find areas where students can actually do some type of analysis of the data that they've collected using photos, videos, numeric data, other things, and then provide that data back to them. So we are focused on giving teachers a way to connect kids with the STEM disciplines through the space-based research, but we're equally focused on saying to a researcher, we can put you in front of students in classrooms. And that's what we think is our real focus here. So if I stray away from the mic, I'm sorry, I'll try and come back so you can hear me. This kind of captures what it is that we do. We're a connect point. We've got in this slide, we've got teachers, we've got researchers, we've got NASA, obviously, and we have a couple other things. BioServe Space Technology is what they call an implementation partner. So any scientist that wants to have his or her research put in space needs an implementation partner that actually builds the hardware and works with NASA to manifest it on one of their launches. So we are the point that connects all of those different entities so that we can get this information in front of students. Again, students are our focus. These are some of the students, some in Michigan, Wisconsin, different places. We try and get into classrooms when we can, when they're available or accessible, or we have the funds to be in a different place where students are. We want to give kids a real look at real people, real research, not have it be something in the book that everybody has done and will do for the next 10 years. We want to tell them that this is authentic, it's going on right now. They're using space to do this, microgravity to do that study, and why it's significant. So they're the focus of our attention. But as I said, also the researchers, and this is some of them, not all of them, but the researchers are the other side of this, and we want to give them an opportunity. It's taken us a while to get our roots into the research community. Initially, we started back in the early 2000s, and we were kind of looking for people who might have a willingness to have their work be put in front of students. And over the years, what's happened is we've been able to turn that around so that now we have researchers connecting with us as an entity that can do just that, that can share what it is that they're working on and put it in front of students and give kids a chance to look at their work. And that's pretty exciting for a lot of them. And what we usually find out is that these are people who have some type of connection in a family. Their parent might have been a teacher, or they might have brother or sister or somebody within the family, a good friend that's a teacher. And so they have a real heart for education and an openness and willingness to help us as we try and help teachers in classrooms get to students. We're going to talk about some of these individually in a couple of minutes here, but the point is that these people are all over the United States, and some of them, the upper left, Dr. Cartwright is actually in Spain. And I won't go into all the details of that, but they are all over. And in each case, what we do is we develop what we call a student mission. We make it a point to travel to where they're working, to their lab, to see them in their natural environment and talk with them about their research so that we have a really good understanding of what they're doing before we start putting together a small curriculum and activities for students to do related to their work. So for the researcher, value-added data, that just means that in some cases there's enough that students can do that they can provide some data back to the researcher. Many researchers don't have a lot of support. They work either independently or with a small team. And so they oftentimes collect more data than they're able to analyze over a short period of time, that is. And so if we can provide some of that manpower for them in ways that are simple enough for kids, but significant enough to mean something to the researcher, then it's a real win-win. Student data is unbiased. We found that out, that they don't go in. Sometimes researchers and their support teams go in kind of looking for an answer before they actually get the answer. And we found out from some researchers that student data input is really good because they don't come in with a bias of any sort. So that's a valuable thing for them. It often meets the needs of the researcher in that they generally have to have some type of outreach program built into the grants that they're awarded. It's not a big part of their grant, but sometimes those researchers uh, put that money toward a grad student or a postdoc student who's doing some work for them, and they call that outreach. And we go to them and say, let's really make it an outreach. Let's put it in front of students across the country or even around the world and give them a chance to look at what you're doing and get excited about how you're using microgravity to help things change here on Earth. And it's a way of field testing as well. So a summary of this whole thing is that scientists start out with their ideas. They want to do some research on something for some reason, working with engineers and, as I said, the implementation partners. They get that sent to the space station via NASA. The information that's gathered and collected on station is then downlinked back to NASA and to the scientist, and the scientists give us access to portions of it, usually, that we can put in front of students. So we work with the part that's non-proprietary information. And then the students do some type of analysis or work, and they send their information back to the scientist. So it's a great cycle of helping out the scientists, but giving the kids a chance to look at authentic research. Orion's Quest has been around a while now. Um, we don't know how old we are. All of a sudden we've been around 20 years and still doing the kinds of things that we do when we started the program. So we have classrooms from around the world. We have an opportunity for teachers to go on. And right now we're only English, I will say. We're working on trying to broaden that, but anybody that can get their students in front of a computer around the world can connect with us and join a student mission. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And so we have teachers in 14 different countries at least that have worked on our programs. Many, many students. We probably got 43 or 44 states represented now by teachers that are involving their students in our program. We are at about a 4th to 12th grade level. We're targeting really middle school and high school. And there are some reasons why that's changing, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But we're trying to make it as broad as possible. Again, our goal is to include and give teachers of all grades the possibility of putting this in front of students and getting them excited using space-based research. And so, because we're free, because we do the work, because it's short duration, we have every opportunity: homeschool, independent study, public school, parochial school, clubs, after school programs, summer camps, and things like that. So anybody can use it at any time once they've gone through the startup process. So to step back a little bit, I'm sure many of you probably know more than I do about some of these things, but to just give you a quick overview of NASA, this is a little bit dated. They haven't come out with a newer version of this yet, but I want to play you just a quick video that kind of capsulizes what NASA has been doing here. I hope. Back here, but not on here.
Starliner is headed back to space.
Thank you.
Where's the batteries?
And she stands ready to return humanity to the earth and then to take us further than ever before to Mars. Last year was one for the history books. We did what was hard and we achieved what was great. Artemis, Newark,
the James Webb Space Telescope. And the task before us now is to keep NASA heading onward and upward. And so today, President Biden has released his fiscal year 2024 budget. And I can report that the Biden administration has requested $27.2 billion for NASA. And that's a 7.1% increase compared to last year's 2023 historic budget. And this budget request reflects the admin.
No, I just want to copy it on here. Let me get that.
I'm turning back to home.
Thank you. Okay, as I said, that is a little bit dated, and I went a little bit further than I wanted to. But what I wanted to do is really just introduce the International Space Station to you a little bit. We need to introduce it before it goes away, because the life expectancy of the International Space Station is probably not more than about 5 years from now. We'll see how the funding goes, but unfortunately, it's another era, another generation of vehicles that is approaching the end of its life, but it has been an extremely useful piece of equipment over the years that has taken years to construct and now years to use, and has actually had humans occupying it since 2000. So it's been around a long time, and this is the first time we had a permanent presence in space, and now we've had that for over 25 years. The space station is about 356 feet long. It's got parts, if you're familiar with it, that are from Russia, and many part of it are from many parts of it are from the European Space Agency, and of course the bulk of it from NASA itself. Just to narrow in a little bit on what this means, if you look at this picture, and I don't know, pointers on here, okay. If you're not familiar with the space station, obviously these are solar panels that provide all of the energy for the station. These are radiators that give off the heat that is generated, because there's much more heat generated than needed here in energy. These portions down here, this is the US side, the NASA side, the European Space Agency collaboration side. And then on the back side over here, these are the Russian components. And I will show you in a minute a little bit more close-up of this. This is an outdoor platform where experiments are done on the outside of the station. And then right back here, the second module back here is the Destiny module. Right here, you can see it, Destiny in the back. Columbus is the European Space Agency's module that they built. Kibo is the Japanese Space Agency's module that they built. One of the Dragon capsules is down here. This piece of equipment over here on the side, this is called the MISSI platform. That's the Materials International Space Station Study platform. So it's an outdoor platform. And this is the actual picture. These are two Soviet Soyuz vehicles docked on the back side of the station, and then you're looking at, again, the European module, the Japanese module, and behind the one in the center is the Destiny module, and that's the place where all of these experiments that I'm going to be talking about have taken place over the years. So it's now a national laboratory. It has been designated USS National Laboratory. There are a few of them. This is the one that's in space, and so it has a special place in our hearts in terms of how it's being used out there. This is the MISSI outdoor platform. It's all robotically controlled, so people can do studies of high intensity radiation, low thermal conditions, obviously, and some other things that only happen outside of vehicles in space. This is inside. This is called the cupola. Many of you have probably seen this particular aspect of the station. It's one of the most fascinating and beautiful parts of the space station because the astronauts can get a great view of Earth. And if you talk to any astronaut, one of the things they will tell you is that when they have free time and they don't have an obligation to do some of the work, many of them spend their time right there, sitting in front of that cupola, looking at the Earth go by underneath. And it's just a beautiful place. One of the pictures that came from that I thought was quite interesting. So I saved this particularly for talking with kids. Somebody that wasn't familiar with the Great Lakes wouldn't really know what we're doing here, but all of us can appreciate the significance of what those lakes do under the winter conditions. Obviously, right now we're celebrating this Artemis 2, and this is their mission patch over on the far side there, Artemis 2 flight that's going on right now. And so I have a question for you, which is, how many years ago was the first spacecraft sent and circled the moon?
Unmanned or manned?
Pardon? Man. When was the last time we sent humans around the moon for the first time? When was the last one?
60 something.
58 years ago. Yeah. Apollo 8 was when Apollo 8 was doing just what Artemis 2 is doing. We're sending them out. It's a test flight, go around the moon. We're not going to land. We're going to come back and we're going to learn whether the systems work, the vehicles work, and all that. So it really is an amazing thing for myself to have lived long enough to see both of those. Many in the room probably have not, but we are back in that exploration phase that was so exciting those many years ago. And now here we go again. I will have to tell you that unfortunately, Gateway, according to an article I read yesterday, is going away. Gateway was the planned smaller space station that was going to be built to orbit the moon. Our hopes with Orion's Quest was that that would be something that we could take advantage of as researchers chose to do their research in microgravity around the moon instead of Earth gravity with the ISS. But I read an article yesterday said that that has been pushed aside and that a moon base has been moved into that slot in terms of the priorities for NASA. So we're going to have to see with Orion's Quest where we go next to find our opportunities to work with scientists on these various missions. Okay, turning a bit, this is a list of the missions that we offer students. We call them student missions because we get kids involved in activities related to actual research that's done on the space station. So these are the scientists. The names of the missions that we put out there for teachers is on the left, and then the grades that we say these are most appropriate for on the right. And I'd like to spend a few minutes just talking about some of these. We won't go through all of them. Something like the Butterflies mission is something for elementary school students. They really get into that, and you can watch a butterfly go through the life cycle processes and actually emerge from a cocoon with no gravity. And can a butterfly fly if they don't have an up or down, the orientation issues that are related to emerging into a non-gravity condition are quite interesting. Fruit flies in space, there's spiders in space and fruit flies in space. We had a study that was done where they introduced fruit flies into a habitat that contained golden orb weaver spiders. And one of the parts of the mission was, can a spider spin a web like it does on Earth without gravity? Golden orb weavers orient themselves toward gravity. They build a web and then orient themselves down toward gravity. In space, if there's no down, what do they look like? So students are able to actually look at comparison studies from space and Earth with the building of a web, and they do not look alike, by the way. And then whether or not that spider can navigate and orient to capture the fruit flies that are introduced into that as their food supply. So things like that for the younger levels. The older students, and we're finding that more and more of the research that's being done is higher and higher levels. So we've kind of done the basic things, and space was used to study a lot of things early on that were more simple. And it's unfortunate because the level of this is getting harder and harder for us to find a way to bring into, say, a middle school classroom. But there are some very interesting things being done. So let's take a look at just a few of them. What we do after we talk to the scientists and find out as much as we can in a short period of time about their research, we put together a small curriculum so that teachers can introduce students to the research and also to the person, the researcher. And we go to the lab, as we said, and we interview that researcher and we make a video of them that I'll show you a couple of. And we want kids to get to know them as a person and what's their story, like we started out saying, what got them interested, why are they studying this, and so on. So we put those together in curriculum materials. These are just some samples that we have on our website, but the point is to provide everything a teacher needs without them having to do anything. So I'm going to pull out my notes here because I'll tell you, these people talk 100 miles an hour when we go to their lab, and they know exactly what they're doing. And my background is not biology, and a lot of what we are doing with these are in biological areas. And so it's fascinating to talk and listen to them. And most of them are pretty good communicators, surprisingly. Some of them are kind of up here, and you have to listen faster than they talk, which, causes a problem. But Dr. Zia, at this point, was at the University of Colorado. He's now working for Sierra Space, which is an organization that wants to build a new platform, a new smaller ISS. There are 3 or 4 companies right now vying for that money, that seed money from NASA to build the next platform in low Earth orbit. NASA's going to get out of that business and really focus on going back to the moon and then eventually onto Mars. So they're turning over LEO, low Earth orbit, to different organizations, Axiom, Sierra Space, a couple others that have been in the bidding process to set up a smaller space station. Anyway, Dr. Z is working with one of those organizations. This was a biofilm study. He was doing a study of fungus and bacteria. And biofilm is a film that builds up on your teeth. That's why we brush our teeth. It's a film that builds up in the space station on filters and nozzles and other things. It builds up in medical institutions and hospitals. They're constantly trying to deal with the development of biofilm because it can be a problem and it could relate to spread of disease and other things. And in space, the application is if your filters get clogged with this, then you've got problems filtering your air and so on and so on. So he did a study that I won't get into further than that, related to biofilm and the trying to take care of that and solve it. Now, I won't play this for you, but he was originally from Honduras, and he was very interested in skateboarding as a kid. And so we used this heavily in talking with students. Like, he didn't want to be an aerospace engineer when he started. In fact, he was a very poor student. And he got somehow there was the right connection. It goes back to that question: what got him going? Who did he meet? Who did he listen to? What got him started down that path that led him to an aerospace degree in the United States first, and then his doctorate, and then began work with a place called Biospace Technologies in Colorado, and now working for Sierra Space. And this is Dr. Jaminet. She did a study on cancer research. She's at actually now NGX Laboratories, which is right across the street from MIT. And her work was done to try and find a cure for hard tissue cancer. She developed a drug that she wanted to use in a microgravity environment to see if this drug would be effective in getting into individual cells and destroying cells that were part of a hard tissue cancer tumor. This is Dr. Vanapali. He's a U of M graduate with chemistry degree from Michigan. He's now at Texas Tech University. And he did a really cool study. This little thing up in the middle is called a C. elegans worm. It's the size of a period on a piece of paper, but it has an amazing resemblance to the DNA of a human. And so what they've been able to do is use this C. elegans. It's called a model organism. And model organisms are things that are used medically around the world because they have some characteristics that help them deal with human similarities. and it has 923 cells, something like that. But he's studying the muscle strength, the way these things act and move, and what their cells that are dealing with muscles are doing when they are introduced into different environments, in this case, microgravity. And it's a multi-generational study. They live about 2 weeks. So the study that he did was out to about the 23rd generation in space, and they were looking for changes that would occur over that period of time. What are the mutations that happen, and is there anything that adapts these to a microgravity environment that might have something that would be useful for us on Earth as we send astronauts into space for a longer and longer period of time to be able to use some of the findings from that. I want to show you his study because it's pretty cool. I'm going to skip his interview. Okay, I'm going to go back to this. What he did, I'll see if I can, it's not the one I wanted to go to. So you may have to come up here and help me again. How do I get back? Just X that out.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to activate that. Okay. Yes, that's going to be 2 of them. Okay. Right. And if I can stop this somehow first. Okay. Okay. You might want to stay here just 1 second. What this is this is a little chip about the size of a nickel. And Dr. Vanapelli invented this. And what it is a little, for lack of a better word, neoprene, some type of plastic device that has small pillars sticking up. So if you think of a brush, it looks like that, the size of a nickel, and then it has all these little pillars. And each one of these pillars is flexible enough that it can be moved as a Coelian worm moves through this little set of towers, these little pillars. And if you look at the picture, and I'm going to let it run again for a minute here. Hold. If I stop it there, you'll notice that if you look at this pillar right here, can you see that from where you are? Where my pointer is?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the shadowing here?
Yes.
And the shadowing here as compared to this, there's no shadowing here. So these shadows are actually showing that there's a deflection of that pillar. And the program that he developed takes into account the amount of force necessary to deflect that little pillar. And so he's able to measure the strength of this Coelian worm as it travels through these pillars and deflects them small amounts. And you can see parts of it are deflecting left, parts of it right. But as this thing traverses the little maze of pillars here, it moves those pillars slightly and deflects them as it goes through. And he's able to actually calculate the force that has been produced by that Coelian worm, translated back to the muscles that were necessary to produce the force to deflect the pillar. So it's a fascinating study that was used. Okay, and let me get rid of that one. Thanks for your help. Sorry about the technical things here. But it's a fascinating study, and this was really cool for the kids because the kids actually could get a look at. He gave us access to videos, and so we had the kids actually look at and determine how many pillars had been deflected left and right, and how much shadowing there was, and things like that. So they provided him with some data based on what they were observing in these different traverses of the Coelian worm through these pillars. And I'll stop here and focus here. Dr. Schroepfer is a doctor that, with her team, immigrated from Germany about 10 years ago. They were not given the flexibility that they needed to do the kinds of studies that they wanted to do in Germany. And so she actually just took her team and relocated to University of California, San Francisco, where she is now. And so we were able to visit with her in her lab. And I will play you a little piece of her interview with her. But this is what she was studying. She says, by sending immune cells into space, we're able to simulate the aging process of the immune system and better understand how it affects our body's ability to repair itself as we grow older. So she was very interested in this study of the immune system. And we ended up calling the experiment Space Age Education, Aging Gravity Experiment, and put it out there for students in two versions, one for middle school, one for high school, so that all the kids could take advantage of what her work is doing. And there were some really cool things that we were able to give kids as activities. So let me first of all see if I can play part of this and you can listen to her. I apologize. Let's pass it now. So it must be this thing really hard to use. If you go back and read, yeah, and that thing.
Is this on Google Drive?
I don't know. That's it. Oops. Okay, well, I apologize, and we won't take a lot of your time here because I've already spent enough time. But the point is, with each of these interviews, the researcher gets to tell the kids about what's going on. Now, in this case, what her research was with uh, immune system. So what she did is they took tissue samples and scratched them, basically. These are microscopic samples. And so when you look at these pictures, the dark area in the middle is the void where there are no cells. It's been scratched. And top and bottom, each one of these little green things is a cell. And so through a microscope, you look at these different cells and a wound in the middle of this. And there was a comparison study of what happens to that wound in space versus the wound on Earth. And to show you something, this is like what the students would view. I hope I can get this to play for you, but right here you have a void where there was a scratch, and then you have the cells on either side. And this could be a wound like you have, if you cut yourself, this is what it would be. The tissue has been separated. And so we get to show kids, we've given access from her, we get to show students things like this, which is a wound healing. And so you can't see it when you cut yourself, and a while later you have a scab there, and eventually you have a healed wound there. But this is exactly what's going on a cellular level in your body. And so as we are able to talk to kids and show them things like this, for me, it just blows my mind that they could see on a microscopic level what's going on here and be able to be a part of that and look at whether this was done in space or on the ground and what difference did microgravity make. Turns out microgravity causes wounds to heal more slowly. And so one of the studies that the kids do is take a time look at how long did it take for this wound to heal when the sample was on Earth. It was the baseline study versus the one that had flown in microgravity. So, bottom line, I hope. Okay. To finish up, we are currently working with a major sports equipment company that you might identify over there. Sorry, I'm away from the mic. As well as NASA, related to a activity that's going to be coming up for teachers this spring, in advance of the 2026 World Cup. So Adidas has been doing some studies using the International Space Station, and they're doing studies on athletic equipment. And I can't get into a whole lot of it because we have an NDEA, and hopefully soon we'll be able to open this up for teachers. But studies have been done related to their sports equipment on the International Space Station and microgravity to basically verify and use scientific principles on Earth, and find out whether those things actually apply in space. And so it's a new way of studying some scientific principles. And I will tell you, I hate to keep saying this, but there's some interesting things that you can do without gravity. You know, everything we do on Earth is gravity related. So in sports, it's an interesting thing to think about the activity, the actions of a basketball or football or soccer ball or anything else, when gravity plays a role. But when you take away that in gravity in outer space, conditions change, obviously. So that really says what I wanted to say tonight. We really want to be able to provide as much opportunity as we can for teachers and students. And our goal is to make that as barrier-free as possible. And I would say to you, if you have students in classrooms or you have children or friends or neighbors who are teachers and want to pass along the information. Unfortunately, I didn't leave it up here. I do have some business cards, but we're www.orionsquest.org. And again, it's a free program. We want people to get involved and use it as it works into their particular classrooms. Doesn't have to be in a classroom, could be a homeschool group or a neighborhood science club or anything else. So hopefully you can spread that word and we can continue to get kids involved. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Let me check it in questions.
Okay.
How do you get around the child labor laws?
Good question. So far that hasn't surfaced.
Thank you. You're welcome. Very nice, very nice.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
I'm so impressed that you've been doing this for 20 years with students of the United States. This is gonna be a huge accomplishment to the country.
Well, what's impressive if you get deeper is that we really don't get paid much for this. So this is not very right. So we're giving not-for-profit unions. Yes.
Have you been able to track at all how many students go on to make to maybe a career in science?
It's a good question, and when we deal with and struggle with all the time, our problem is that in these cases, these kids are exposed to what we're doing for about 3 or 4 hours. And so the closest we could come would be to say, how many of those kids chose another class in high school and decided? It's the things we do are affective evaluations. We can't really do cognitive evaluation. So we can say you can come away with a better attitude, you're more interested in science. We take surveys when the kids finish their activities that are involved, which I really didn't get into. Oh, thank you. So we survey. I'm not doing anything either. We survey the kids and say, you know, how likely would you be to take another science class, or how interested are you in pursuing a scientific career or a STEM career, that kind of thing. So it's more of an effective affective analysis. Okay. Absolutely. Thanks for your devotion to astronomy and science, and whatever brought you here tonight, just keep at it, because you guys are special people to spend the time that you do studying and viewing and enjoying this group. So, yes, sir. They're going to bring it down in pieces. Yeah, there's a place in the Pacific called the Graveyard of Spacecraft, and it's, you know, pretty open area that they don't have to worry about any occupation in that area. And eventually they will take pieces apart. It's chance that they might actually reduce the components and keep it up, part of it up there longer. So,
Wow.
No, it was me. I was trying to listen.
All right, let's thank our speaker one last time. All right, thank you guys for coming out. Our next meeting is going to be April 16th at Macomb at 7. Our next Star Party open house is Saturday, April 25th. Sunset, 8 o'clock-ish. If you're interested, we do gastronomy after the meeting at the Redcoat Tavern, Woodward north of 13 Mile. Google it. I will not be there. See you guys next time.
Oh, that's a frozen door. It's tough to be very strong, and then
There should be a setting that automatically mute. There should be a setting that automatically